What's going on, guys? Danny here from Cobra Racing. So in this video, we're going to be installing these awesome CVDs on this monstrosity behind me. This is a Traxxas X-Maxx. So we're going to go ahead and install these CVDs. Guys, these CVDs are pretty cool. They're actually different than the Traxxas OEM CVDs. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean when we go over to the bench to install these. There's kind of a secret behind these CVDs, so I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. And by the way, this Traxxas X-Maxx is not mine. We actually had a customer that wanted to buy a whole bunch of Cobra Racing parts, but didn't have the funds. So they asked us if we would take a trade. Now, normally we don't do this, but we figured it'll be kind of fun to do the trade because, you know, in that case, maybe we can do like a YouTube series where we entirely strip this thing basically to the nut. And redo it Cobra Racing style. So if that's something you'd like to follow, make sure you like this video and also subscribe to the channel. We figured it'll be a nice YouTube series, so why not? With all that being said, let's go over to the bench and put these bad boys on. Okay, so the first order of business, we're gonna be removing these massive wheels. So I got my nut driver, it's 17 millimeter. So I'm gonna take these out and look at these ugly wheel nuts. We're going to eventually change these to the Cobra Racing ones. We're going to go with blue. I don't have the parts on me right now, but that's going to be for a future video. So I had to hammer this because this thing was really on and it wasn't coming off. Okay, so the wheels are off. For the rear, we have to remove these hex pins. So we'll go ahead and do that. We just removed the hex pins that hold the stock hex. So now the next step would be to remove the knuckles and also the rear pins so we can get the CVDs out. Okay, so everything basically came off. I just got to remove this pin right over here, and I got to do the same thing for the other side, so we can just basically free up the rear axle carrier, and basically it's just going to come off just like that. Just like that. So I wanted to show you the difference between this and the Cobra Racing CVD. So look at this, guys. Take a look at that. I'm not sure if you can see that, but basically the Cobra Racing CVD is slightly longer than the Traxxas OEM aluminum. And this is very cool because basically it's going to widen your max without actually needing to put a wide max kit on it. And the reason why is because if you look at the hex of the Cobra Racing CVDs, look at the difference, guys. Okay, this is actually much wider, and what that's going to do is it's going to give your wheel a lot more support because it just has more meat to basically grab on. So this is very cool. So take a look at this. See that? So that's why we're going to be changing to the Cobra Racing CVDs because they're just much better. And also, you know, they're going to give the wheel a lot more support than the Traxxas aluminum CVDs. So let's go ahead and pop all the CVDs in the front and the rear. And then we'll be done with this project. And we're going to go ahead and put the bearing on here. And this is a pretty simple, straightforward process. So just snap it into the output drive that connects to the differential. And then just push it into the knuckle or the rear axle carrier in this case. And just like that, put it in. And then we're going to need the pin to, you know, close this up. So we're going to go ahead and insert the pin. And just like that. Take a look at this, guys. Look at that. Just like that. And the cool thing about these is there's no, you know, that squiggly pin that basically holds the hex, the OEM hex. We don't have that here. We basically have a pin that we put in right over here. I'm not sure if you can see that. See the pin right there? So basically getting access to this side of the car is much simpler because you don't have that squiggly pin that you kind of have to like fiddle with to remove it. It's just a pin, it's super easy. And this pin will never come off because basically when the tire goes on this hex, it's going to completely cover the pin, so you don't have to worry about losing a pin basically for as long as you're bashing or driving this thing. So let's go ahead and put the CVDs on the rest of the car and then we'll see how it came out. And that's it, guys. So basically all of the CVDs for the front and for the rear, they're already in. And look at this, guys. As I mentioned before, take a look at this hex on this thing. This thing is awesome. And as I mentioned before, this will give you a slightly wider stance because the hex, if you look at the difference, look at this. So the hex is much larger. So the wheel, when it sits on, it's going to have a lot more stability and support, just like that. Take a look at that. And then you can screw it in with the nut, you know, for this car. So awesome upgrade. For those that are interested, I am going to drop the link in the description. So make sure you check it out when you have some time. As I mentioned before, this was not really my X-Maxx. This was basically a trade for some Cobra racing parts. And we figured it'll be fun to kind of strip the entire thing. You know, basically do like a Cobra Racing X-Maxx edition. So with that being said, I mean, we're going to change everything on this truck. We're going to change the arms, the shocks, I'm not sure about yet. But most likely we're going to change them. And obviously we have the red knuckles in the front. Actually the red and the blue doesn't look too bad. But those are going to be Cobra Racing. So basically we're going to redo the entire truck. So if you're interested in following the progress of this rebuild, make sure you like the video and also subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.